I am warning you right now, some of the content of some of these songs is not going to be the most relaxing, pleasant thing to talk about. So, if you're a person that gets queasy very easily, this might not be the video for you. Just say it. Hello everyone, and welcome to the ASMR review show. For this video, we are continuing through our King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard ASMR final review series, and this next one we have is Murder of the Universe. So, a very fun, pleasant topic, right? So for this video, the beer I have is Thor's Shadow Imperial Stout. It's a strong beer, 8%, very heavy, much like this album is quite heavy by King Gizzard standards. There's a little bit on the top here that says, "In Mjolnir's roar lies the heart of Thor." So, we all know that Thor is the god of thunder, right? God of thunder. But, thunder, always comes after lightning. So maybe he's the god of thunder, or perhaps Thor is also the Lord of Lightning. Yeah. That's a song on this album, if you didn't know. And, it's an Imperial Stout, so, it's very heavy and dark and roasted and rich. And I don't think all Imperial Stouts are that bitter. I don't think this I would classify as bitter at all. But I've seen other people try this one and are like, that's too bitter for me. Nope. So, I don't know if my opinion is the best when it comes to that sort of thing. Because, I like it when it's very bitter. I like my beer almost as bitter as I like the boogie. Right? But of course, we gotta get down to the music. And today's album, of course, is this lovely monstrosity, Murder of the Universe. So, I don't know if you can kind of make sense of this exactly. Kind of took me a while to figure out, but there's this creature on it, and those are the eyes. There's a bit of a mouth here, kind of a nose, and a hand to it. So I don't know if you can kind of view that that's the face. It's not entirely a shapeless blob. And I don't know if you can also tell, but there's these mountain peaks here. So I think this creature is coming out of the castle that we saw on I'm in Your Mind Fuzz and Nonagon Infinity. So this is the third album in the Gizzverse. That all the songs are connected in some way, right? Shared stories, and I think that ties into, one, Stu liking to write about similar topics, and then also Jason Galea liking to have similar looking artworks here and there, So this definitely is a very heavy Gizzverse album in terms of things being connected to it. So then there's the back art for you there, and there's a bunch of whole lyrics which are all from the ending of the final song, so spoiler alert. And the way this album is there's 21 tracks, but there's actually only 3 songs: The Tale of the Altered Beast, The Lord of Lightning versus Balrog, and Han Taiyumi and the Murder of the Universe. So it's quite all over the place, and then you got all the credits here, who plays what and all stuff like that, right? So yeah, let's get into it. There's also this really nice booklet in here, which is really cool. But unfortunately, it's like a very large, thick booklet, and I'm pretty sure that's been the cause of it kind of damaging little bits of my outer sleeve, unfortunately. So, that's how it is. This booklet with the album cover. And inside it's got the track list again, and then all the lyrics displayed in this lovely artwork. So this album is a bit of a controversial one, shall we say, because there's a lot of spoken word passages. It's not like Eyes Like the Sky, where there's just only spoken word and there's no singing or lyrics. There is singing and lyrics, it's just a lot of times there's these passages where there's like a narrator, like telling the story of the songs, and that's the vibe they were going for, right? It's like a mix of like spoken word and singing. So then the italicized stuff in the lyrics booklet is like the spoken word. As soon as the dust settles, you can see a new world in place of where the old one had been. Your skin is crawling with dry crusted mud, and your naked feet are wet in a pool of your blood. And the whistle of the wind in your ears is so loud that your memories have blown up in a mushroom cloud, and as your eyes accommodate, there appears by the meadow a brute-like bear with a long dark shadow, and you violently shake over what you've seen as you remember the tale of the altered beast. I think I see an altered beast by that tree. Oh, then it goes into that for like 20 minutes. So yeah, this album and its style is not everyone's cup of tea, because they don't want to hear like this spoken narrator audiobook stuff. They just want to hear like the music. And I don't agree with that at all, because I'm going to be honest, this is probably like my third or second favorite King Gizzard album. I love Murder the Universe so much. The sound on this album, it's like them taking that heavy, raw sound from Nonagon and cranking it up even further, and that album was already like, you know, like, strap yourself in, we're going for a ride. So that this album is even more crazy than that, and like, you've got like weird fantasy lyrics and weird sci-fi stuff, and the long songs with like weird psychedelic bits and stuff. Like, if this had come out in like the 70s, I think this would have been like an absolute game changer in an album. I mean, I still think it is. But yeah, I love it, and it's not like in spite of the spoken word passages, I love it. It's like, no, like, I think all that stuff's great. Lee Sr. is the person who does the spoken word for the first two songs. And then the third song has narration via this like text-to-speech type program for this robot. And it's just so fantastic. It works so well. I like the long songs. I like all the different parts to them. Even a song like Altered Beast, which is 20 minutes, and it's quite repetitive. I still don't feel that it gets old. And then you got the Lord of Lightning versus the Balrog, and that's like pure fantasy awesomeness, and it's just so in your face. And then you got Murder the Universe, which is just so weird and creepy, and like such an odd concept for a song. So I'm gonna start talking about the details of the songs, and it's not gonna get pleasant when we get to the final song. I'm just warning you on that one. So you got Tail of the Altered Beast, which is just like this weird bear creature like attacks this person, and then they're like slowly being like mutated and having all these weird visions, and that's what all the artwork is to represent. And then eventually it gets to the point where like they're the altered beast, and now they have to like kill to like satisfy their hunger. Right. No more consternation, no longer in Cerebrius. The beast's DNA has dug into your nucleus. I can't say it as well as the senior does. Yeah, it goes through all these parts. Really great, and has such a creepy ending to it. Track 1, big 20-minute epic. Sorry, song 1. They broke them up into smaller tracks for easier digestion, I think. But I just like made a version on my phone where it was like all the parts combined into one. And if you're listening to it on vinyl, that doesn't matter anyways. I don't really like it when bands break up long songs into smaller chunks, like especially in the CD digital era when you don't need to. It's just like, if I'm going to listen to it, I want to listen to the whole thing. So don't break it up for me. I'm going to just make my own version, right? Or I don't like it when bands like have like a song that has a 30-second intro and they put those 30 seconds as its own track. Like the Hellion, Judas Priest, Electric Eye. It's like 40 seconds, I think. And I hate when you put it on shuffle because you only hear Electric Eye, you don't hear the intro. But I want to hear the intro because it's part of it. So I just made my own version where I've put those two songs together. Surely we can't make some rule that if it's like less than a minute, you don't have to put that as a separate track. But yeah, that's Tail of the Altered Beast. Then you've got Lord of Lightning. Right? I bringeth forth the drama, unabridged and unignored, the battle of the Balrog and the mighty lightning. Lord of Lightning shifts his gaze. What's also cool is there's other spoken or written stuff in here that's not stuff that is sung, like this bit. Lining up his targets, like the huntsman points his rifle. Waves of flaxen flames as he mutters his magic title. Yeah, it's just awesome. And throughout the song, like, they're saying, not gone, infinity. So there's a Gizzard connection there. And then right before the Balrog song, they play the cellophane bass riff. I'm in your mind fuzz bass riff. But it doesn't go into cellophane. And it's not much context of the song. It's just, hey, what if there was this fight between a Lord of Lightning and a Balrog and they had a big fight? And somehow they turn it into like a 13-minute epic song, you know? That's what's great about it. I also like the intro to it. It's this little track called Some Context, and it starts with the ending riff from People Vultures from Nonagon Infinity. Another connection. This is like the Gizverse album for all these connections, how all these albums take place together. And, you know, some more lovely artwork there. And then after that, that gets us to the final song, Hyuni and the Murder of the Universe. This is again the one where I warn you, I'm not going to be talking about some pleasant imagery. If you know this album, you know what I mean, so I've warned you many times. I like how so the narration, spoken word stuff was done by Lee Sr. for the first two songs. For the third song, It's this like computer text-to-speech program of this cyborg called Hyuni, which is an anagram of humanity. So all of his lines are written in like the computer font, you know. Impertinent and ignorant, deathless and restless, cold, contrite cowards, digitized satellite, augmented entities, unremembered God. The world fades to black, digital black. Welcome to unaltered future. Sorry. So yeah, it's like meant to be this future where like there's no humans, everyone's just all robots, and the world fades to digital black. And Hyuni, the confused cyborg, it's him right there. He's all like, you know, feels like I don't know my purpose, right? Like the primordial blood beneath the body, my pseudo-mind pseudo-wondered. I climbed and I clambered, and I hammered upon some understanding. The gold beneath the virtual rainbow. I'm reft of two human things. Two things that a cyborg can never do. Two things I strive for. Two things between myself and mankind. Death and to vomit. What? I want the perspiration. I want the nausea. I want to be sick. Ugh, that's disgusting. So yeah, this cyborg Hyuni, he kind of comes to the conclusion that to be human, he needs to do two human things, and one is he wants to eventually die, right? Because, you know, humans are mortal, and he wants to throw up, because, like, it's like, you know, the body having, like, a breakdown or something, and not being perfect and being flawed, and I guess that's his idea of what he comes to. Is like, that's the solution, so okay. How much Vegemite was Stu on when he wrote these lyrics? So he builds a machine, a human machine. He made it with steel and soy protein. A soy protein munt machine, which is that lovely image right there. And the idea is that the machine is going to, like, vomit and die for him, and he's going to, like, compute the data. And that brings us to the song Vomit Coffin. Just, again, I think this song is really creative and inventive, and it doesn't gross me out, but I know lots of people are just num. If you don't want 13 minutes of some cyborg just going, I want to vomit, I want to be sick. So, you know. Yeah, so that's what he wants to do, right? But the soy protein munt machine rejects him, right? And when I declare to my design, like Frankenstein's monster, I am your father, I am your god, and you the magic that I conjure. The thankless swine, the blasphemous jerk, my creature had no love for me, which made me berserk. And so, Hyuni, he, like, plugs himself into the machine, he absorbs it, and now he's finally able to vomit. So he starts doing that, and it just starts spreading and growing at an exponential rate. He keeps on doing that, and then the last 4 minutes of the song is just all the details of how he keeps vomiting and spreading the filth, and it goes across his lab, across the city, across the planet, across the solar system, and it's just, he's consuming everything in vomit. And yeah, I seep into power sockets and travel along the wires at the speed of light across vast electrical networks. And you can see here just arts, everything being consumed. And then it's like the world is my interior. It no longer spins. It is altered. My density forces me upward, and I'm in orbit. And then the solar system, the cosmos, the galaxy, comets vomit acid rain, spilled milk over the Milky Way. And then nebulous pregnant with pulsating burst expansion. The big line, I shoot arrows of time in all directions. I'm a black hole shitting into the void. And then eventually, like, it's just, like, everything is vomit, the entire universe, right? I am dark energy accelerating, multiverse, entanglement. I am time, centillion. Time is sick, critical density, contraction, singularity, everything and nothing, life and death, murder of the universe. And that's it. It just ends on this huge, big, noisy segment constantly building, and it's just so well done and epic. I think it's such a creative way to do a song. But again, not the most pleasant of imagery, very, very disgusting stuff. You know? And because of the content of that song, that is why that this vinyl is the Vomit Splatter edition. You know, so it's just all like pukey greenness, disgustingness. The only downside to this album being on vinyl is that they had to split the Lord of Lightning versus the Balrog right in the middle between the two sides. So, unfortunately, you can't listen to, like, all of Lord of Lightning uninterrupted. I think it would have been better if perhaps they, like, did a double vinyl release, and then if they just had the third side as, like, a etching or something like that. The fourth side, sorry. You know, then they could have put each song on its own side without having to interfere with the order and all that stuff. But yeah, that's Murder of the Universe, a very fun, pleasant album. So, again, lots of people, for some reason, they hear the spoken word stuff and they automatically hate on the album. Like, they don't like it. It's like audiobook style, and I don't know, I listen to lots of songs with, like, samples and spoken word parts and concept albums and stuff like that, so that style never bothered me. I just don't get the hate for it, really. Like, I've seen so many people say, like, oh, I would love that album if it didn't have the spoken word parts, because it has those parts. This album is ruined. Ugh. Bottom tier. Or, you know, just like, oh, it could have been better without them. I don't really see anyone who's all just like, yes, this is the best one, yes. Yeah, I honestly think this is, like, my second favorite. Like, my other favorites is, like, Flying Microtonal Banana and Nonagon, and Infest the Rat's Nest is my favorite because I like the thrash metal part, so I'm biased. But yeah, this is probably my second favorite King Gizzard album, because I just love the sound to it. I thought it was a really cool concept. I like that they were making these big, long, epic songs with all these different parts to them. I like how unapologetically weird and creepy and crazy and out there it is. I just love everything about it, you know. But again, I guess not really everyone else cared for it, and it's kind of weird that they went to, like, this after they'd done, like, weird, you know, Eastern Turkish experimental stuff, and now this hard rock and sci-fi thing, and then what do you do after you've murdered the entire universe? Well, apparently you make a jazz album next. And it's not just that they put out this album, it's that they put out 4 other albums of all such different styles, all within the same year. Right? That's what I like about them. They're very prolific, and they can put out all these different albums within the small time periods and have them all be different and also good, you know. It's not just like, oh, they put out all these albums and, like, you know, just to see if something is good. It's like, no, they're all unique and they're all interesting and they're all good. But I really love Murder the Universe. I don't know if they're ever gonna do something like this again. I think up until the recent announcement of Butterfly 3000 that this was Stu's favorite album. So we'll see. I like the heavy, aggressive King Gizzard stuff, and this definitely fits the bill for that. You know, so anyway, that's about all I got to say on this one. Again, some people don't like the spoken word stuff, but I think the spoken word stuff is pretty spoken word stuff, because the spoken word stuff is spoken word stuff, spoken word stuff, spoken word passages, spoken word passages, spoken word passages. Anyway, I spoken word passages, hope you spoken word passages that, so I'll spoken word passages you next time. Spoken word passages. Spoken word passages.